Hey everybody, today I'm going to be showing you this Kashtira deck profile for Post Infinite Forbidden. I think Kashtira is still very relevant. I still think it's a very good deck. You know, Shifter is a great card and I think Kashtira utilizes it very well. This deck version I'm going to be showing today is mainly for going second. I think Kashtira does not put up a strong enough board going first in this format, but it's very good at breaking boards and you can compete with the top tier decks going second. So to start off, pretty generic Kashtira lineup is going to be the 3 Fenrir, the 3 Unicorn, the 3 Rise Hearts, and then the 1 Scareclaw. You can take out the 3rd Rise Heart. Some people run 2. I just think with the 10 monster lineup, you definitely need to run the 3rd one because sometimes you just don't draw any Kashtiras and then you're kind of just stuck playing with hand traps and your opponent will probably push for game by the time you even draw a monster. So you definitely need this, I think. You can easily put it out for something else if you choose to, but that's the Kashtira lineup. It's gonna be 10 monsters there. Best card in the deck, Dimensional Shifter. I think Joel Lockwood comes a close second. I think both these cards limit your opponent's play. I think they stop a lot of what they're supposed to be trying to do. And compared to normal hand traps, like I don't run Veiler, I don't run Mourner. I just run the 3 Ash and the 2 Nib. I don't run Mourner and I don't run Veiler because a lot of decks can play through it. I think I try to limit my hand traps to cards that stop play because, like I said, Snake Eyes can play through Veilers, can play through Mourners. Yubel can do the same thing. So I just try to play cards that just stop play, pretty much. Awesome. And then for spells, it's going to be the 3 Birth, the 3 Theosis. You can run 2 as well. I run 3 just for consistency stakes. Kashtira's biggest flaw is consistency, so sometimes you just don't have a play to go into because things get stopped. So you definitely need to run 3. But going game 2, game 3, I always side out 1 Theosis and I always side out 1 Rise Heart just to bring in more board breakers, whatever I need for the current situation. This is the normal spell lineup. I think it's pretty generic. There's nothing too crazy about that. And then for consistency stuff, it's going to be the 2 Pot and then the 2 Talents. I think running 3 Pot is not very good because I just always end up drawing double pot or I pot into pot and it's kind of useless. And like I said, this deck's mainly built for going second. You will go first in some games just because you're forced to go first. So going game 1, I just try to play like cards that can go first and can go second. But I want to go second, and Triple Tactics Talent is basically what saves you in those matchups because you lose to pretty much Droll, you lose to Ash, you lose to pretty much anything that stops your initial plays. And so you just need something to bounce back from. And this basically helps you bounce back from the hand traps. The 2 spells that I also run are Enemy Controller and Forbidden Droplet. These work very well with Nib. These also work very well if you draw too many hand traps. Like let's say you draw too many hand traps, a double Ash or double Droll, and then you have an Econ in your hand. If you're going first, you just set one of those, and then you just set Econ, and then you have a play for next turn while your opponent's popping off. So it's always just a great card to have. I always side it out going game 2, and I'll show you what I sided out for. And then the last 3 cards are gonna be Imperms. Just a great card. I believe it should belong in every single deck. It's just I think it's just a staple to have. Doesn't trigger Triple Tactics Talent, so it does a lot for you. In terms of extra deck, I have the 1 Shang, the 1 Draco Sack, the 1 Dark Arm, the 1 Red Eyes Flare, 1 Big Eye, 1 Harmonizer, 1 Zeus, and then 1 Typhon. I think this is pretty much all you'll need to go into. I rarely go into the extra deck unless I'm making Shang if I'm going first, or if I make Dark Arm if I'm going second. Draco Sack's just there because you don't have an out to skill drain, and sometimes skill drain will just end all your plays. And sometimes they have a bigger beat stick than what you're able to play around. So easy just to make Draco Sack tribute itself, pop the skill drain, or whatever problem card you need to get rid of. So I think Draco Sack's just underrated. Big Eye is also one of my favorites. I think people don't value just stealing a monster, because by the time you make Big Eye, you've already gone through your opponent's most of their negates, or even all their negates. So Big Eye usually goes uninterrupted, and you can just steal one of their monsters and push for game. Because by that time, if you're going second and you use Big Eye, you can just drop Typhon after you summon everything, and that's pretty much game there. So pretty generic XYZ lineup. In terms of links, you run the one IP, the one SP, and then I run the Heat Soul package. I initially didn't like the Heat Soul package, but I've noticed that because I'm wanting to go second, or because I'm trying to play like a hand trap heavy deck version, I want to draw my hand traps. I want to draw the fish, the shifters, the drolls, the ashes, the imperms, right? It doesn't hurt having double imperm in hand. Doesn't hurt if you don't have a hand trap in your opening hand to draw into a droll, draw into an ash. You know, just gives you an extra 2 draws. And I think it's definitely worth it in the end, because like I said, if you draw a heavy cash hand turn 1 and game 1, you need to draw that hand trap. Otherwise, you're probably just going to lose because you have no interruptions. Everyone has board breakers now. You need to draw those hand traps. And the last card is Chang Ying. More than happy you can replace this. I have never summoned this. This is just to get over those big beef sticks that sometimes you can't get over. And like, for example, Chaos Angel, this deck has a problem going against Chaos Angel. You just don't have anything that can target it if it's summoned with lights. You just don't have anything that's that high of attack, so Chang Ying's always a clutch if you need that. Another card I would use is Baguska. You can easily change this out for that if you want to stall, but that's what I run. And then in terms of sides, we run the 1 Harpies, 2 Lightning Storm. Pretty generic there. The 3 evenly, this card wins games. This card is the best card, I feel like, in your side deck. A lot of people you can try to play around it, but not many people do. Especially when you try to burn all their negates. You can easily just evenly after, because most negates pop. So this new card that debuted pretty much at NAW, CQ, and then also in the European, Dogwood, is such an amazing card, especially because we're trying to go second. I side this in going game 2, game 3, no matter what, because I'm always gonna make them go first. They're gonna pop off, do their thing, but the minute you drop this, they limit their plays to get in their own head, and they make a board that's not as strong, and you're already plus so many life points at that point. It doesn't matter, and they've limited their plays, so it's just a plus for you. And if they don't limit their plays, then you're sitting at like 30k life points, and you have time, to draw and play through stuff. Enough time to stall for you to drop your board breakers and win the game there. I do only run 2 D barriers. Like I said, I'm not trying to go first, but I can go first. There are certain matchups where I do want to go first. Like, for example, Branded is a matchup that I always want to go first in. Most of your monsters are special summon, and Mirror Jade is just a problematic card. Yeah, you can go into your extra deck, but it doesn't really do anything. After like summoning a Shang, you detach 1, that's fine, you end on Shang and Fenrir, but that's not strong enough. Sometimes I have a stronger board with like Unicorn, Fenrir. I honestly think that's like the best board you can probably sit on. So I just think running 2D berries is good for those situations. And then my 4 1-ofs. Snatch Steal is such an amazing card, especially with the Fiendsmiths going around, because Desiree doesn't negate and destroy. Desiree just negates. So at the end of the turn, Desiree becomes yours, so you have a Desiree. I think this is such an underrated card, especially with Forbidden Droplet, because you can send this and the monster that you control. So you basically get 2 negates by just stealing their monsters too. I think this is underrated. I hope it comes at 2, because I definitely would run this in the main. I might even put this in the main instead of enemy controller and just pick going second every time, but you don't usually always have that choice. So having this in the side, this is just the second droplet. I always side these 2 in going game 2. In terms of anti-spell, like I said, sometimes you want to go first against Branded. I really want to go first. So I'll actually side the anti-spell and pick going first, and I'll side in D barriers, so that's pretty much, that explains that. And then Nibiru, just the 3rd Nibiru, you sometimes do need it in those rogue matchups, or in those matchups where you're like, I'm not seeing Nib, because you run 2 of them in a deck. You just want to see the 3rd one. And it doesn't hurt because Nib plus Droplet or Nib plus enemy controller always leads to more follow-up. So that is my deck profile for Kashtira post Infinite Forbidden. Thank you so much.